Vargas 58 AJ back in the house again. So today we're going to be doing a stud conversion kit. As you can see, these are the studs. They are extended studs. I believe total length of these is somewhere around 90 millimeters, 75 millimeters in the upper part and 15 millimeters in the lower part. There's two ways we can install these things. There's an Allen key here at the top. I believe it's a 5 or 6 millimeter. The other way is a double nut method, which I personally prefer, as a lot of times these tend to strip, and if you're doing this for the first time, you might be a little intimidated by this or nervous that you think you're going to strip it and now you don't know what you're going to be able to do. So a lot of people don't realize using two nuts, way easier, way simpler, way safer. You don't strip.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
You don't strip anything. I did it the first time with this, so I got a bunch of ugly little imperfections going on over here. Not sure if you could catch all of that on there, but basically, yeah, pretty straightforward stuff. All you need is your studs, nuts, 17 millimeter, and Loctite. Make sure you use blue Loctite. Red Loctite is labeled as permanent, so unless you never want to take these things off again, use red Loctite. But if you do want to remove them, as these are coming off of my X3M, you want to use blue Loctite. First thing you want to do over here, you want to put down 2 of these nuts. And when you put these on, you do want to put them to face away from each other, just as the flat surface from the ends mating to each other is a little better than the bald edge. You don't need to go too far down on the stud. I'm going to show you that right here. So I put them close to the top right there, just like that. Very straightforward. You want to take your Loctite now. And with Loctite, generally, you want to do a strip going down. You don't need to overdo it as you thread this in. It will spread out all over the place. Always go in by hand first. And then after that, you can use the wrench or the Allen key to go further. Generally, studs are only torqued to about 15 to 22 foot-pounds. I think 11 Newton meters to 15 Newton meters, depending on what you're using. And once it's in, the top one here, very straightforward. The top one locks the second one, and the stud is spinning. Literally requires no effort. And since, for the most part, I don't use torque wrenches for a lot of things like this, as 22 foot-pounds of torque is very easy to gauge for me because I've been doing this for a while. So you see right now, the second one is spinning over here. So for that, unfortunately, good. Let's see. All right. I'm gonna let you guys see how I fail here. So that didn't work out as well as I would hope. So now in that case, if you do have them not sticking to each other and they're basically both screwing in, what you want to end up doing is then putting one on top of the other one, because then, let's say for example, if it still does it, so they're still both spinning. So what I can do now, I put the wrench on the inside and I put this one on the outside, and now I can really lock them into place. So now I can lock that one into place. So now the stud should spin, and the stud is spinning perfectly. Now that I put a little more force into them to lock them, and the stud's in. I already gauged this kind of, doesn't need to be crazy tight. That's it. To take it off, very simple. The front one, you tighten the front one because the front one is now going to go away, and the rear one is going to loosen, and literally by hand comes right off. Super simple process. This thing is in. Loctite takes about 10 minutes to cure, and you're good to go. All right, now while I'm doing the rest of this, I'm going to explain why you want to use studs. Personal opinion, really, studs are a lifesaver. They make your life so much easier when you want to mount your tires. You also never need to worry about, do I need to get extended bolts for this spacer or that spacer? I have really long studs, and I can run any kind of spacer. I could probably put a 40 millimeter spacer on here and still have enough thread to do anything I need. On top of that, with studs, generally speaking, these are always hardened steel, just like lug nuts as well. Personally, it makes, if you're changing wheels all the time, it makes all of this a world easier, essentially.